Good morning. I'm excited to share with you the fourth quarter 2021 Henry update. And I'm happy to report I have good news and better news. And the good news, although it might not seem like it initially, but it really is, the reason I'm in bed is I got another skin sore. So the first one I was in bed for 3.5 months before it closed over. But praise God, I've gotten this one to close over in less than 5 days, but because I learned so much. But I'm going to still be in bed for another 2 weeks, just letting my skin really heal before I start the wear and tear of being in my chair. But also, I broke my foot, my right foot, the fifth metacarpal. And the reason that's very good news is I was doing weight bearing on the Lokomat, and I went from the machine bearing 30 kilograms to the machine bearing 25. I worked my way down from 55 kilograms. So I was, carrying 110 or 15 pounds of weight. The machine was carrying 50, 60 pounds of weight. And when I went from 30 to 25, all of a sudden my body is just lurching forward, and I had to have a weight belt to pull my torso back, and I'm lurching way to the right. So I had 2 belts, one pulling me to the left, one pulling me back. And I broke my foot. I've been in bed since October 1st, but I broke my foot that week, I think. And I think I probably I know I walked on it for 2 hours with a broken foot. And the day before I did a 2-hour session, I don't know at what point during that session I broke the foot, but I ended up learning as a result. Number one, that I have terrible osteoporosis that I already knew, but I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Raj Panja, who's a brilliant orthopedic surgeon. He works for the Falcons, Disney. He does more stem cell interventions than any orthopedic surgeon in America, apparently. And he is now going to be able to reverse my osteoporosis. And one leg was 1.5 inches longer. It's now less than 1/2 inch. One shoulder was 3 inches higher. I've now equalized that working with a chiropractor, and my right hip and shoulder kind of clamped together like in a C, and I'm trying to address that. And I was getting work done on my muscles, but they would just tighten right back up. I mean, even during the same session, it would be like piano wire. And so now that I'm getting these structural issues addressed, my muscles are loosening up. I'm having incredible spasms. I did meet my weight goals. I went from 255 to 164 in weight, in pounds obviously, and a 55-inch waist to a 34-inch waist. And when I do the E-stem, I'm going to lose another 3 or 4 inches off my waist just in muscle tone. So very excited about that. So I've got some margin, and I remember when I was swimming, the first time I swam laps, like I would before I was injured, I was just touching the pool and pushing off with my hands. I didn't know to wear gloves. So after 2 hours, both hands were a completely bloody pulp. I had these massive divots on almost all my fingers, and it took 6 to 8 weeks for that to heal. And then I knew I needed to use scuba gloves, and I was fine. I swam 420 miles in 10 months. It's the same with walking. I would not have been able to walk if I had not addressed these structural issues. But now that I've done so, I'm going to actually be able to reverse the muscular issues, the osteoporosis, and get my skeleton righted. My right foot particularly was curved in at the ankle, so that I was walking on that outside heel, and we could not correct that, even with a Lokomat, enough to prevent the break. So I'm going to get all those structural issues addressed, where I'm walking on my feet, where they're healthy, and how I'm landing, get my legs the same length, my hips aligned properly, my shoulders I've already addressed, and the hip and shoulder issue. That's the good news. The great news is Kelly met with the governor yesterday morning for breakfast, and we right after that meeting had a 1.5-hour conversation with a donor. That donor has agreed to pay for the documentary for Ignacio, which won't mean a penny to Henry, but it will create a massive brand for us. And the guy producing the film has worked on films, had been a producer for Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg, and Mel Gibson. He's won 7 Emmys, been nominated for 16. His wife has been and this is a Henry board member, his wife has been in a prayer one-on-one prayer relationship with a woman every day for 15 years who just had 3 exits this summer. And she and her husband, who we talked to for an hour and a half yesterday, who live here in Atlanta, she is fused from C2 to T2 and from L3 to L5. And they've decided they're going to make a very, very major gift to spinal cord and to healthcare. And we're going to be absolutely involved in those conversations, and I hope part of the consideration. And we'll see. But that certainly was great news and very exciting for us. So I'm thrilled about that. On other fronts, Kelly and I are having a great time with the Aurora Forge. We've gotten, I know, hundreds and I think thousands of people out of Afghanistan. The head of our family office that we work with, Captain Family Office, is in Pakistan. We've been working with the government of UAE and UAE Airlines to fly people to London. Unfortunately, with both U.S. citizens and green card holders, the State Department has not allowed us to land in the United States. And we actually, we were kind of in negotiations through third and fourth parties with drug cartels in Mexico. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but because it was much easier to work with them, honestly, to land in Mexico and just walk people across the border. But we did decide not to do that for different reasons, some of which are very obvious, I'm sure. And we weren't talking to them directly, but through intermediaries in the national security community. But it's really sad to me that that's the way to get American citizens home versus our own State Department. But I won't get into politics. We are thrilled about the X Prize. We've got an MOU to be the home of all healthcare X Prizes. There are 3 categories: health, environment, space. They've done 99 million of X Prizes, which has resulted in over $2 billion of pursuit costs to win those prizes, follow-on investments in IP and the launch of companies, just the launch of companies, not market cap. So that's over a 20x return on investment on average. And so we're really, really excited about that. And we hope we can do the first one for a cure for paralysis. Now, hopefully in partnership with this couple I mentioned that's considering the gift. We also are meeting with some very, very, very high net worth innovators to discuss that as well. Elon Musk, as you may have seen, just did a $100 million X Prize in the environment. Jeff Bezos co-founded, and I think, and was the first director of SEDS, Students for the Exploration and Development of Space at Princeton, with the founder of the X Prize, Peter Diamandis. Richard Branson bought the IP from the first X Prize in 1986 and used that to launch Virgin Galactic, and Larry Page is on the board. So it's going to sort of help fulfill my lifelong, or certainly professional life dream to connect Silicon Valley billionaires and philanthropists to the Atlanta ecosystem through the X Prize. In addition to that, we've been helping to craft the legislation for ARPA-H, the healthcare equivalent of DARPA, which we want to move to Atlanta. And that's going to be at a $3.5 to $5 billion investment. So we're hoping that goes well. We're further along on the X Prize than ARPA-H. But we have already done the Creative Destruction Lab. And that's a nonprofit out of Canada, headquartered in Toronto, 6 universities there, Oxford, the Sorbonne. Georgia Tech was the first university in the U.S. It's totally free to the entrepreneur to go through their 12-month program. We've got over a dozen different verticals they focus on. We are launching in Georgia with Toronto the neuro vertical and the biomedical engineering vertical. So we're thrilled about that because their graduates, even though it's free to the entrepreneur, the people that graduate from their program have received over $12 billion of follow-on financing. So we think that's going to be huge for the Atlanta ecosystem. The X Prize, ARPA-H, Creative Destruction Lab, and what we're doing with the Aurora Forge. And I'm thrilled about that. I'm the CEO, co-founded with Ricky Kaplan and Newton Howard. You can visit theauroraforge.com. Kelly's the COO, and he's really just a consultant, but that allows us to keep Kelly because Henry, with our budget, can't pay him enough, so he's able to be a consultant. And the Aurora Forge has opened up all these donor relationships, potential partnerships, and opportunities for Henry. So it's been an incredible blessing. Obviously, Kelly's doing a great job I'm excited. In less than a month, I'm going to have an endless pool downstairs, which I was able to refinance my house and purchase myself. So I'm excited to be able to swim whenever I want, 24/7. And I want to thank each of you for making the Lokomat possible. It took Ignacio from an Asia A, which is what I am and he was, to an Asia B, which means 100% sensation all over his body, and and able to stand and move some of his limbs, his paralyzed arm, his 2 legs, obviously torso reactivation, restoration of bile, bladder, sexual function. Everybody I'm talking to, I hope on this call, is an Asia E. That's healthy. I'm an Asia A. Ignacio's gone from Asia A to Asia B, and we're hoping with the clinical trial that we're launching now on electrical stimulation, which has gotten 15 out of 15 people walking. We're going to take him from an Asia B to an Asia C, and then to get him to a D, which is what General Ellis is, our chairman, we're going to do some additional stem cell interventions. But I'm just thrilled and excited. Thank you, and thank you for letting us take the first step on the journey and demonstrating what everybody said was medically impossible, going from Asia A to Asia B. The best is yet to come. And Ignacio has repeatedly said the Lokomat was the most important, the most impactful, the most innovative treatment, the most helpful treatment yet in his spinal cord journey. And so we're thrilled to open that up to other patients. We're going to be an extension of UCLA, my home, for the clinical trial, which we're doing with University of Southern California, UCLA, Georgia Tech, and Emory, we hope. Not finalized with Georgia Tech and Emory. And we've been sending information back and forth with the VA about a memo of understanding. So hopefully all 5 of those groups will be part of the clinical trial, and we'll keep you posted. But thank you for putting your trust in us, your love for me, and giving us the opportunity to help so many people. God bless you. I hope you each have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving and a very Merry Christmas. Take good care. Bye-bye.